Things have completely fallen apart for the Toronto Raptors, and they keep getting worse. As we're going to break down last night's embarrassing loss to the Atlanta Hawks, some really unfortunate developments in the trade market, and our quest to either, bring in some talent, bring in some youthful pieces, or at least get some value back for guys like Pascal Siakam or OG Anunoby if a trade does end up going down. And even at a time where we desperately need prospects, younger players to step up, we have some bad news on that front as well. So lots of unfortunate stuff to break down. If you want to join in on our sort of journey together on the Raptors Digest of watching, looks like right in front of our eyes, the falling apart of this Raptors organization. Over half of our viewers are not subscribed to the channel, so it would mean the world to me if you guys hit that sub button. But things are getting really embarrassing right now for this Raptors squad. And that's the first thing we're going to discuss, because the Raptors last night played, I couldn't even get a reaction up. Friday night, you're tired from the week, all this type of stuff, and the Hawks game was just a disaster class. I mean, we played the Atlanta Hawks, and we had a nice win Wednesday night. It was a moment where the Atlanta Hawks are a team with some talent, but again, they have been horrible as of late. Losing going into this game, they lost, what is that, 6 of their last 8 or 7 of their last 8? I can't even do that math off the top of my head, but just a really rough season for the Atlanta Hawks on a losing streak. We got a win Wednesday night. I said, let's not overreact to it, even though Scotty Barnes played well. Our top 3 guys really played well in unison. And you see those moments where it's like, okay, I get the vision for this Raptor squad. And then wins like that, they spark a little bit of hope, a little spark, a little minute bit of just excitement for the next game, and then to just get gut punched like the Toronto Raptors did last night. An embarrassing stretch, getting cooked by Trae Young. I mean, Trae Young ended up having 38 points in that, 11 assists. We even had our defensive stopper and OG Anunoby getting cooked when he was switched onto him, and really no one stood out crazily. Scotty Barnes had a pretty good game, 23 points, 8 assists, 4 rebounds. Like a really solid game for Scotty, at least in the box score numbers. But Siakam took 11 shots. From the eye test, it felt like he took 2 shots in this game. Just was not really involved in the offense. Nothing really going on along those points there. Jakob Poeltl, 7 to 7, 1,000%, 100% from the field, and then, still feeling like a non-factor. Dennis Schroeder's really struggling as of late. Off the bench, at least we had a bright spot in Malachi Flynn, and this is sort of my discussion about lineup changes potentially coming, and I had the hot take that, obviously OG, Scotty, and Pascal, there's no world where they're out of the starting lineup. Heck, even Jakob Poeltl, this $20 million, and we need a center in the lineup, so he's not going to get moved out of things. So, rather than Gary Trent Jr. insert it into the starting lineup, maybe it would boost his confidence and stuff, but the guy that's really been our most consistent, most reliable, maybe not putting up the most insane numbers, but Malachi Flynn has really been the guy that shockingly is the player when, Darko talked about it, the Raptors continue to struggle, which they clearly are, losing this 21-point loss to the Atlanta Hawks. Lineup changes are coming. Malachi Flynn might need to be our starting point guard, or maybe you move to Scotty there and you bring in another guy into the starting unit, but Otto Porter Jr. didn't even get run last night's game. Maybe you want to throw Scotty at the PG, Precious at the starter, but I don't know. Malachi Flynn was one of the few bright spots in last night's game. Gary hit a couple threes. I don't even want to dive into this one. The Raptors just prove to us again and again why the hope that the most diehard Raptors fans have is futile this season. It's stupid. We've had moments over the past few seasons where, we could root for this team and there was legitimate reason for hope, right? There were legitimate moments to cheer on this team. It's a young group. Things could come together. But this season, it just looks completely desperate, hopeless, and it hurts me as someone that loves being the eternal optimist for this Raptors team. But the Atlanta Hawks lost yesterday really just took some wind out of the little breeze, the little gust, the little, that we got from the air. Completely took the wind out of our sails, and it just sucks to see. But that's not the only thing that's really falling apart for the Toronto Raptors, because a lot of Raptors fans are hoping a shakeup. We talked about lineup stuffs and all that, but really a trade going down that could turn this team around, or at least put us in a better position for the future. But we have some pretty bad news, or at least unfortunate news, frustrating news for Raptors fans about a potential deal happening, at least in the near term, because basically a report that came out from John Hollinger indicates that, I won't read this all verbatim, but the Raptors are a team, obviously, that are going to be in the mix for potential trades. We've heard all the rumors, and I see the comment sections just getting irritated by all the rumors and reports that have come out in recent weeks. But frankly, this Toronto Raptors team probably isn't going to make a trade till that February deadline. And right now, if we want any hope of turning around this season, because it's going to be tough to really race to the bottom because other teams have been so bad, but it doesn't seem like a trade's going to happen until actually February. So we're going to have to deal with the rest of December and the rest of January, putting up with this sort of continuous gut punches, little teases of greatness, games where OG, Pascal, everyone plays really well, Scotty Barnes all together, and then, just 3 games of desperation of maybe close losses and things along those lines. Hollinger says, again, he uses the line, it takes 2 to tango, for a potential trade. And the Raptors, whether it's the Pacers, whether it's another team, they have to wait for teams to be ready to make one of these deals, and that's going to come closer to the trade deadline. But things get worse for the Toronto Raptors, and you probably saw Lauri Markkanen in the thumbnail in a Hawks jersey, and you're like, why the heck does that matter? Why the heck is that in the thumbnail of a Raptors Digest video, of a Toronto Raptors fan channel? What are we talking about here? Well, basically, the Toronto Raptors, obviously 2 major trade chips are OG Anunoby and Pascal Siakam. And to have another forward on the market that could really be a game changer, because really OG and Pascal Siakam are really the only two-way guys that could insert themselves into a team like the Sacramento Kings, the Pacers, and make a difference. Elevate them from a mid-level team to a team that could be the upper echelon of their conference. But now another player like that is on the market who doesn't have an impending free agency coming this summer, and that really takes a massive hit to the Toronto Raptors' trade value for their top guys. Basically, reports come out that's saying that Markkanen's status is already and will continue generating significant buzz around the league if Utah continues entertaining rivals' inquiries. It would be a front office malpractice not to at least understand what it would take to land Markkanen. League personnel believe 3 teams in particular value the Finnish forward in preliminary stages of conversations. 2 of those apparent suitors are Sacramento and Atlanta, which makes sense given their respective approaches to Pascal Siakam. And a third team would be the Oklahoma City Thunder, who suddenly are second in the West with a trove of future first-round picks. So, frankly, the Toronto Raptors now have competition, and Lauri Markkanen is a guy that's playing really solid this season. He's putting up good numbers. He's been an all-star caliber player as well, and doesn't have the flight risk potential of an OG Anunoby and Pascal Siakam. So now there's less leverage for us in potential trade negotiations with the Sacramento Kings, with the Atlanta Hawks. The Thunder, if we get involved in that, maybe that's a positive because there's another potential trade suitor. But just bad news all around for the Toronto Raptors. And then, if we want to look at it as well in terms of our prospects, particularly Grady Dick, just unfortunate sort of production coming out from Grady Dick. And what made me, I don't watch Raptors 905 games, and Grady Dick's obviously barely playing for the Toronto Raptors right now, but saw this post on Reddit, which made me do some inquiries. But in the last game, he shot 2 of 10 from the field, 1 of 6 from the 3-point line, team worst minus 22. The Raptors, the latest 905 losses. And I've been peeping the box scores. I don't watch the games. I can't get them out here in St. John's, whatever. Maybe you can watch them online. But basically, I can barely watch Raptors games here at this point. But Grady Dick, he's been struggling. He's making fans on Reddit at least lose hope, and you dive into the stats, and they're not good. Grady Dick so far this season, again, 17 games for the Toronto Raptors, only shooting 25% from behind the 3-point line. His minutes have been cut significantly on the main roster, and then the hope was, hey, we send him down to the G League to get his confidence up, and then he can get back to being a rotation piece for this Raptors team. And then you look at his G League stats in 7 games, 14 points per game. He's had some decent nights, but 7 threes a game, shooting 28% from behind the 3-point line. At least he's shooting well from free throws, all that type of stuff, but the confidence from Grady Dick, it has not been improving, and we even have guys like Delano Banton. We have guys like Lorenzo Brown in the past just come in and step up when they played for the G League roster and they played for the 905. But our 905 team, it's been brutal. Hopefully Justice Winslow in there will help us win some games, but I mean, Grady Dick needs to be dominating that sort of era as a lottery pick for the Toronto Raptors. Our draft our drafting has really been the backbone, the basis of the Toronto Raptors' success over the last decade. So Grady Dick's going to need to step up, especially on the Raptors 905, if we want any hope, especially if we don't have our draft pick this season. So bad news all around for the Toronto Raptors. I hate being sort of a negative Nelly out here regarding this team, but I don't know. They've really just stabbed me in the heart this year, this Raptors team. So hopefully we can turn things around with a move, a lineout change, or just something clicks for this group. But let me know what you guys think about this Raptor squad. You guys are the best to make it this far. Subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. I'm signing out. Cheers.